Hello. So I know it hasn't been very long since I rolled, and what was I talking about? I just wanted to come and do another quick one, or this one will be quicker than the other one. One because of my energy level, and two, unless of course people tune in, and or even one or two, and nice conversation starts, and then I guess we'll see. But I'm a little bit frustrated, but then also kind of feeling something that happened is special. Um, um, so um, some of you may have seen a video I did a while ago, not that long ago, really, 2 or 3 weeks ago, where I was mentioning how I happened to find out because she was pretty open with saying where they were headed to, that a friend of mine, and by the way, Robert sees this, Mr. Waddell. This one isn't musical. The one before this was, just look in the live tab. You'll find um, me doing music, and I think I really would like to read your comment out actually. But first of all, um, I know it was for me, but I just want people to know that that may have seen my content before and scrolled past or been uncertain. Like, some people do like it. I mean, few and far between, but they do. Anywho, so I happened to find out that our neighbors knew a loved one of mine that passed away. Maybe not well, but they go to a restaurant she used to serve at, essentially. Um, I was just being, and sometimes it's just a quick and easier way. We do have another way of contacting them. If it had been a clip, oh, it could have still happened. Maybe I accidentally clicked away from it. Um, but I was in the process of sending and just about to do it, but I sometimes my device, it puts it in queue or only saves something as half a draft and doesn't send it. So I wanted to select it and then send it through um, to our neighbor in this digital way. Although I also just don't want to interrupt her, especially since it is 11 o'clock. It might be a bit more. I should never have said the heads up thing because normally I don't require much of one, other than to have money with me. But we can figure that part out. Anywho, but basically, I typed about 7 or 8 lines. You know, stuff that I probably easily know and remember, realize, uh, and could send again. I just don't know if I want to take the time to type it again. Because what happened was, although maybe this is the opposite of, well, it is, I guess, the opposite of death. But what happened was there was a song, and I guess I don't remember what else would have been, but I didn't think it was the last thing that I'd kind of put into the copy hold um, thing, queue, clipboard, whatever you want to call it. But so when I went to select the email, suddenly it showed the title of a song I looked at the other day, which was called Immortality. And I was thinking about a loved one that passed away, you know, and it pasted that in there. So I got rid of it and I tried to see if it would put back what I had there, and it didn't. And I don't know if I have the gusto to type it again. Um, you know, in some ways, what I was sharing are, even though I do have good things in my life, are my hard realities and my struggles, and it don't, yeah, they I guess I do think of them often, or and I know my one friend would be saying, "Why you got to focus on the positives and celebrations and that?" And I'm not trying to mock her when I say it that way either. I think she does understand that sometimes it's the harder stuff that sticks out the most, or like the struggles, and I don't know, it's just hard when you're stuck, and honestly and truly, I don't have that much going on. Yes, you can always look for little things, but still, it's just when you have a lot of time, you're not go, 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 you have a lot of time to focus on both, honestly and truly. Um, and so it's, yeah. Uh, but I also wanted to share that I got a message from a guy who I, if you were left, I don't know if they were looking, but anyway, who, oh, either came back, somebody else is here. I haven't seen in many, many years. He worked briefly, or I don't know how briefly, but a while ago, not currently, with the other person in the home, our home. And so he pretty much was saying that, yes, that person's certainly mentioned and spoken about me before. Um, and we'd met at a music retreat, whatever, at a music retreat, um, for a festival. There was this festival that they have here. I don't know if they still do this thing, but there's um, what do they call it, Universalist Church, that they every summer around that time, any musicians who wanted to sign up and pay, uh, for. We never stayed the night there. I mean, they didn't have accommodations for that anyway. But I think it was over the weekend or 3 or 4 days. Would come and they'd attend workshops. They'd like do songwriting groups. At the end of it, we performed in little groups that had been formed, and there was food, obviously. I don't know if it was obvious, but there was. Anyway, and this was probably, well, I've been living in this home for 7 years. I would say 12 to 14 years ago. And that being said, though, it is possible, although that doesn't seem to be showing. Well, I don't know, is it? Um, I have an old account that I can still access or look at, but not access, and then my current account. So I think I had him on my old one. Yes, I did. So you know what? Okay, this is true. He may have seen some, although I don't remember him ever commenting. He may have had a like or two in the past, but I don't remember him ever commenting um, videos I used to post on that platform. Um, um, in common. Sorry, I'm just quickly typing something and then I'll kind of finish what I was saying. Sorry for the distraction. I do have ADHD. But I'm also typing something to the person that I was talking about. So yeah, they may, and as soon as you were there for like 2 minutes and left, just as I was coming back into things. But that's okay. Um, so it's true. He may have seen the content there. Still, it's very nice to hear this. Whether he hasn't or has, or remembered me from back then, and musically, and like I say, this would have been in bunches. And actually, when I was mentioning how, I honestly, I hate to say it after what he said to me, but I don't. I mean, I remember his name. His last name's kind of interesting, unique. I honestly don't remember him as well as he remembers me, but I do. I like I say, I remember the name. I remember his kind of look, and I knew that he played music. And we actually have a somewhat similar look. Not like a lot, but like the beard, essentially, the beard and the dark hair. And we might be close in age. So maybe that's why. I don't know. Anyway, point of the matter is, as he says, um, well, so I sent him the link to here. It said, "Glad to hear that you're still creating. I recall you having quite a talent." Um, and then even said something else kind of interesting. Wherever he's at, it sounds like he's staying at the lake or something. I don't know. It says doesn't have Wi-Fi there, but it will check out uh, our channel when he stops by a friend's place, even though he'd be with the friend. I guess there's things he wants to take care of while he's on Wi-Fi, and I really do hope that he ends up uh, coming here. I mean, especially if he doesn't have it, and these days most of us could only survive so long before we'd start to go a little bit like I need to look something up, or I need some entertainment. Aside from and honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I really, you know, I mean, mostly don't. I mean, because what comes to mind when I think that is if somebody is, it's good to disconnect for a little while sometimes, probably. But if somebody is, um, really focusing just on nature and not able to do as much on their device or whatever, I mean, most of the time you don't need texting to Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi to text or whatever, and this and that. But it helps bring in some balance. I would say it helps to, um, kind of just like being at home and being out and about. It's good to have the balance. And then, yeah, want to go on your device for a while. And even if you're with a friend, I would say, a lot of people can multitask and have ADHD and almost thrive better when they're multitasking. So for anyone who thinks, oh, um, my friend's not paying attention to me, they're always looking at the device. First of all, I think if you have a certain age group, I mean, everybody's different. And some people are old souls or just, not like the rest of them, but or a lot of them. But I have a feeling that if it was a bunch of young people, they probably wouldn't even think anything of the fact. And I'm almost 40, so I mean I'm still fairly young, but they probably wouldn't think anything of the fact of like being around each other and being on their phone. It can be conversation starters too, like, oh, look at this cool thing I saw recently, or look what I just saw, or and then you talk about it for a while, and then you whatever, like um, it's you know before people use technology so much. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know this sounds silly to say it, maybe, but what did they talk about? Like, oh, I went hunting and I went fishing, and not that people don't do this now. We don't talk about those two things, but um, I ironed my clothes, and I'm thinking all these like old, olden days. Well, I mean, like what I mean. Like, I mean, I'm thinking of like what's the word? In the little huts, and the you know but thankfully these days, and I mean, a lot of people live alone, like men have to know how to cook at least somewhat anyway, or they're eating out all the time, like, and I don't follow the ideology that women are the cook and cleaner. I don't like cleaning. I sometimes don't feel like cooking, but it's good when you can kind of share those responsibilities, right? If you depending on who you live with. And make the kids do stuff too. Like, like, I mean, give them chores, and get them helping, Um, they move job, don't they? Plenty? Just kidding. But I'm sure you love them. But anyway, but yeah, so anywho, but yeah, that was kind of interesting how that kind of came up, but it was kind of because of something he said. It kind of made me think of it. So I don't know if there's anything else to say really. Other than that was nice to hear. I mean, deep in my heart, or maybe that's a weird way to say it, but I really do want our neighbor, because I don't know, a lot of times we say a quick hello and we're on our decks or whatever, but we don't really, I don't know, maybe the other person in the house more so, but I don't know. And I feel like even I back in the day, but there were some reasons. It's just that one of the things I was saying is that this chapter in life, I mostly have acquaintances, and not a lot of living or local family. And the local family that we do have, or nearby family, live very, very busy lives. they're not the most connected individuals. You know, you know, people can only be connected with so many friends and family, and then and they have their own lives, like I say. But I don't know. Um, and they work or they live far, or there's been awkward moments, much like with this neighbor. But at the same time, it's kind of like you know, it's so special that they go to that place, and I might be able to sing, and I'd love for them to hear that more, and go out for a meal, and I they understand isolation. It's and I do too, to some level. You know, um, you know, so that covers mostly what I was saying, actually. Uh, and that I don't do gigs much because I don't like bars most of the time, and I don't drive, and um, you know, here is very hit and miss. I mean, it's just the truth. You know, whereas there, even if they weren't fully paying attention, people would have to be because we're in the same place. Um, and yeah. So I don't know. Um, Anywho, I'm tired from the previous podcast. I'm hoping to jump into a conversation with somebody and then maybe go up for lunch. I guess we'll see. Um, but suddenly there's three people here at once. But it's the question of, yeah, I just feel like she doesn't know that this is my truths, and I would like her to. But it happens when like something wonky like that happens. It kind of makes me, you know, like I say, it's hard stuff to bring up again, even though I kind of just did. Maybe I should just send her this clip. But I don't want them to think they were talked about. But I mean, I never said exactly who they were. Um, it's more what I wanted to say to them. Um, so yeah. Anyway, if you do, yeah, and those flashes at the top, who aren't actually flashing. Otherwise, maybe I'd stick around for the show. No, just kidding. Sorry, but if you have a song request or a topic request, feel free to put it below. I might wrap up soon, but I've got some time. So happy to have you here. One just became two. So yeah, it would be really silly for me to wrap up. I'm happy to be here and converse with you. I've kind of touched on the main content, and you both left. So, but then somebody came back. One thing I will say, and it's surprising that I don't see it more often. I mean, it's YouTube, but again, there's lots on YouTube. And again, it's not saying who they are. It could be the same people. And again, if you're playing, and again, and again, and again, if you're playing head games, don't need that on this channel. Stay away, please. Um, if it is different people, then I must say, like I say, I'm surprised that it doesn't seem to be with scrolling, but when maybe accidental clicks. So I don't know. Like I say, I sometimes guess reasons because I feel it kind of maybe it's that it gives me some validation that okay, yeah. So maybe not have been personal. Let's move on from it. It just kind of I guess it's like a pep talk. I don't know. Anywho, when it happens, but uh, but if it has been different people, like that was literally a second, then it's been fairly active these past two podcasts. Like I say, they seem to be people who have really bad ADHD or impatient or judging too quickly or other reasons, personal or not, like I say. But it's not exactly motivating. It really isn't. And certain people can say, "Oh, but do something, do it for yourself, whatever, whatever." Till you're on this side of of the camera, I would think that it's pretty understandable, first of all. But if it's not, till you're on this side of the camera podcasting, you don't know how it feels. You know? So, and even if you do podcasts sometimes, you might still largely not know. Um, no, he's at my age, but I don't know. Um, yeah, so I'm going to wrap this up again. If Rob or anybody else sees this and you prefer to see me doing music, my previous podcast I was really quite focused on doing the music, so did a number of songs there. Um, yeah, it varies. It really varies, but yeah. Okay, bye for now. Take care, kind to each other, and talk to you later.